everybody, welcome to Big Balls Fantasy Football, the show with powerful picks, sexy super fans, and is really fun. I'm your host, 20-year fantasy veteran, Greg Reifsteck.
And I'm your co-host, Jenilee Borick, and we're typically both huge Bears fans.
We're still huge Bears fans.
Together, we are the beauty
and the beast
of fantasy football experts.
The reason we're saying that is we are blacked out this week. She's grayed out. I'm blacked out. I mean, I'm really pissed off. We lost to the damn Dolphins, 27-14, got humiliated. It was just not a good fantasy showing last week at all. And there was one play that started it all.
Started it all, drove me crazy. I couldn't stop talking about it. I couldn't let this play go. I was pissed off. I was swearing a lot more than I normally am.
Yes, she was. She's usually stopping me from doing that.
And it was the first possession that the Bears had. They were in good field position. It was a 3rd and 1, and Trestman decides to pass the ball into double coverage to Alshon Jeffrey, in which he does not catch the ball. Instead of running Forte on that 3rd and 1, we had done 2 passes in a row. He decides to pass the ball a 3rd time, and I said, just hand the frickin' ball off to Forte. Let him get the yard. You're already in good field position. And move the ball and hopefully get at least a field goal, get points on the board to start out, because our defense had gotten the Dolphins out right away. The Dolphins had the first possession. So it was 0-0. You have good field position. You have a chance to get at least 3 points on the board if you just move the ball a little bit. And we were 3 and out. Would not run Forte for that 3rd down, and it drove me nuts.
Now, here's going to be the biggest mystery that we're never going to find out about. Reading in the press a lot, of course, the problem that we're having again is Jay Cutler. Basically, we have a Ferrari right now of a team, but Jay Cutler is like the 15-year-old kid trying to learn stick shift with the damn thing. Still, seriously, that's what he was doing last week, because it came out, and because Jay Cutler canceled his usual appearance on your show that you listen to. What's the show in Chicago that you love?
It's Waddle and Sylvie on ESPN, Chicago.
Right. So he canceled that appearance, and it came out in the press that Trestman isn't going to let him switch as many plays at the line anymore and is going to keep him on a short leash. He hinted at the fact that there were 4 to 5 plays during the game that he was not happy that Jay switched to call at the line, and they were all runs to passes and all in the first half.
And that's what was driving me crazy, was the play selection. I'm sitting here like, what are we doing? You have one of the best running backs in the league, and you're not handing the ball off to him. And when they did hand the ball off to him, he's getting yards. It's not like he's getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage or he's gaining half a yard. I mean, he's getting 5 yards, 7 yards, 10 yards. When you're handing it to him, hand him the frickin' ball. The Bears only handed the ball off twice in the first quarter. Absolutely ridiculous. They ended up having 224 yards of offense in the entire game against a Dolphins defense that is not a very high-ranked defense at all. I mean, that game, I was more upset about this game, I think, than any loss this season. It puts us 0-3 at home. Bears haven't done that in a decade. There's problems, and there's obviously... we talked about and we found out after the game some issues going on in the locker room with players being frustrated. Right.
So, yeah, just a really, really bad week overall for the Bears. Even worse week for the Seahawks. Not only do they lose this week to the Rams, but the reason I think that possibly happened is they started their week with a really big change. Percy Harvin getting traded out of nowhere, complete shocker, to the Jets for, I think it was a conditional 3rd-round pick. A low pick. Now, this guy, they went for a lot. It was like a 1st-rounder and a 2nd-rounder. What did they give up for him? Do you remember?
I don't remember exactly what they gave up to get him, but they gave up quite a bit. And his contract was a pretty decent-sized contract, too, money-wise. So it's shocking that he misses most of last season, being injured, does come back and play in the playoffs, and obviously the Super Bowl win makes a big impact play in that game. And then he's been pretty much healthy this season, and they trade him at such a weird time this season, middle of the season. You don't see a lot of these big name trades happen. I thought possibly it was because of him being injury prone and having injuries. But what I was hearing came out was problems in the locker room with him. He's not the best teammate. I did not know that.
When you punch out Golden Tate, in the locker room, that's probably not a good thing.
Yeah, and I think that happened apparently last year since Golden Tate's with the Lions now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he got into a fight with Doug Baldwin as well. So I did not know he had locker room issues, but I think that is probably the reason they traded him.
Right, and that's one thing Pete Carroll's not going to put up with. He's a very disciplinarian type of coach, and apparently they've been trying to trade him since like the beginning of the season, but just haven't had any offers. And then there was the insane offer that they made to the Broncos. Julius Thomas straight up for Percy Harvin. I mean, what did they think? Like, Elway was just some rube on the street or something? It was just really a pathetic offer.
Yeah, they were definitely contacting teams and wanting a tight end, especially since they're having some tight end issues over there. And so they were trying to make some of these straight-up trades. And it's really interesting to read about. I know the Colts were another team that they contacted.
Yeah.
A couple of franchises that, said no to Percy Harvin. And that's when you're starting to think, okay, why are these major franchises saying no to a guy that's such a big playmaker?
Mm-hmm.
But if he's poison in the locker room, then these franchises aren't going to want him.
And so, of course, who do they call? The Jets. Yeah, bring him on. We got Michael Vick here. We dealt with Sanchez. Just, come on over. We'll take you. Stats-wise, 133 receiving yards. He was only getting 26.6 average yards a game, and he had no TDs for the season. I'd get rid of his ass, too.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing with him is he is a difference maker when he's on the field.
Agreed.
Defenses have to account for him, and he can make a big play at any moment.
Right.
And if you use him correctly, he can do a lot for your team. So, I think sometimes, maybe with them it was scheme-wise, they weren't doing as much with him. But, he's a guy that defenses have to account for. So it was pretty shocking that they traded him.
So this week we're, of course, going to have my Beast Mode picks and your Real Men picks. And we each have a pick that plays into the whole Percy Harvin soap opera. So stay tuned for that. Also, tell them about Sunday Funday.
Oh, we had a great Sunday Funday. We were celebrating Greg's birthday, actually. It was his birthday weekend.
We had something to celebrate on Sunday. It sure as hell wasn't the Bears.
Wasn't the Bears.
Nope.
So it was Greg's birthday weekend. We were out at OutPost with Lexi to see some Peyton Manning action. Some special stuff went down in that game. So we have some great footage from our Sunday Funday as well.
Yeah, we have found another one of our super fans, Logan. We got him on last season, and we have him back, our resident Dallas Cowboys fan. We got him on tape. So all in all, it was fun. Of course, don't forget to catch us at BigBallsFantasyFootball.com, our website. You're watching us on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BigBallsFootball. And we still have a podcast. Please, the podcast is on its last legs. And all of you that don't have the time to watch us here on the videocast, go check us out at blogtalkradio.com/GRR. And you can take an audio recording of basically what we're talking about on here with you on your commute.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great thing to listen in the car and still get all your fantasy info.
Yeah.
And don't forget to like us on Facebook, facebook.com/BigBallsFantasyFootball, and tweet us your questions at BigBallsFBall. Again, we love the fan questions we get. We're answering them straight on our Facebook. We're answering them on here and on the podcast. So.
Yep. All right. Well, you're first this week. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
I need a real man. Have you seen him?
Hi, Jenilee here with my Real Men segment, and we are in week 8. Now, some of my picks struggled a little bit last week, but hey, it happens. Been quite the weird fantasy year this far. So I got 3 picks for you guys this week, and I hope these are going to do a lot better. A couple of these are a little more ballsy as well, so I'm going out there with a couple of them. So my first pick is wide receiver Doug Baldwin, and he's a 2.5 on the ball scale. And he's a guy that obviously we hinted at this in the intro, but the Percy Harvin trade has definitely affected Baldwin so far last week in good ways. So that's what we want in fantasy. He right now is the clear number 1 wide receiver for the Seahawks since Harvin is gone. He had 11 targets in last week's game against the Rams, so he saw a lot more looks. Of course, he's only going to be getting looks if he continues to get open, but that's definitely what we're hoping. They play Carolina, and Carolina is struggling against healthy number 1 receivers. And also the Panthers have given up at least 1 touchdown to wide receivers in every week this year except for week 2. So the Panthers defense we've talked about is not what they were last season by far, and they are struggling against wide receivers mightily. And he had his first touchdown last week against the Rams, so he got in the end zone. I think that could continue to happen. This is a game that both teams need to win. The Seahawks are 3-3 right now. The Panthers are 3-1 with that crazy tie that they had. So this is an important game. It's an away game for Seattle, which we talk about. They don't play quite as good away as they do at home. So this is an important game for them. You might see Russell Wilson needing to throw the ball if it's a close game. And like I said, Baldwin already had 11 targets last week with Harvin being gone. So if he continues to get open, he's going to see those chances. So get him in your lineup. I'm trying to get him in a couple leagues this week. My second pick is tight end Dwayne Allen, and he's the Colts' tight end. I know he's not a name that we know a whole lot. He is a 3 balls pick on the ball scale, and I'm picking him this week because I like his matchup. He's playing the Steelers. Now, he's only averaging 43.5 yards per game, but he has 5 touchdowns on the season so far. So again, fantasy-wise, if he's getting in the end zone, that's exactly where you're going to get a bulk of your points, especially for tight ends. Tight ends don't have a ton of games typically where they're going 100-plus yards. Fleener and him are pretty close in targets, but Luck does look for Allen more so in the red zone. So you're going to have better chances if you have him in. We know Luck is going to throw the ball. That's something the Colts are always going to be doing. So that's not going to be a problem. And the Steelers have given up 4 touchdowns to tight ends so far this season. Greg Olsen, Jordan Cameron, and Owen Daniels, all three, had big games against the Steelers so far this season. So if Dwayne Allen is out there, I know he's out there on a lot of waiver wires. He's a guy that you could pick up that I think could get you a touchdown this season. His matchup is really good. This week, not season. And my last pick for the week is Detroit's defense. They're a 1-ball pick. I picked them up. They were on our waiver wire a couple weeks ago, and they're balling out in fantasy as well as just stat-wise. They are still the number 1 defense in the league. They are 2nd versus the run, and they're 7th versus the pass. So their pass defense fell a little bit, but they're still up there in the top 10, obviously. They're playing Atlanta, and Atlanta has given up 9 sacks in the last 2 weeks. Atlanta's O-line is struggling. The Lions are getting sacks, however. They are 3rd in the league with 21 sacks. So this is a game that I think is going to be a little bit of a nightmare for Matt Ryan. The Lions' front is very, very good, and I see them getting at least 2 sacks on Matt Ryan, possibly more this week. Matt Ryan has also thrown 7 interceptions this season, and the Lions have 8 on the season. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a pick, adding to those fantasy points for you all. And the Lions are only allowing 15 points on average per game to their opponent. So this game is in Atlanta. Typically, Atlanta plays better at home, but they are very much struggling on this season. And as of late, I think the Lions defense is going to go in there and tear some things up. And they're going to get you some fantasy points with those sacks, possibly interceptions, maybe even a pick 6, who knows. But I think Atlanta's going to struggle against this defense. So go ahead and get them in your lineup. And there we go. Those are my Week 8 picks. And now we're going to give it on to Greg, and he's got your Beast Mode picks for you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Big Balls Fantasy Football. We are in week 8 of the NFL, and I'm Greg the Beast. I have 3 wonderful beast mode picks for you this week that are going to help you win your lineup. My first pick this week is actually beast mode. Marshawn Lynch, running back of the Seahawks. Now in the intro, we talked about Percy Harvin going to the Jets. They are going to be running the ball. They are going to be going to Doug Baldwin, who was, of course, Jenilee's one of her real men picks this week. But they're going to have to be pounding and pounding and pounding the ball because, yes, Baldwin is a good pick to have in every week, but he is not the threat that Percy Harvin was on the field. So you have to go with Lynch. You go to him every week and week. That's why he is a one-balls pick. He's a complete no-brainer. He is totaling 97 attempts for the season, 420 yards, 3 touchdowns. He has had a little bit of a rough time. He hasn't had a 100-yard game so far this season, but I predict he's going to do it this week against the Panthers because, as Jenilee already said, not only do they have a weak pass defense, they also have had a really crappy run defense. They've given up big games to Le'Veon Bell, a whole bunch of other running backs this season. So it's a really great matchup. Take advantage of it this week, especially in light of the Percy Harvin trade. My second pick for you this week is Ryan Tannehill, quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. Now, I know this is like, why the hell am I putting him in? He is a 2.5 balls pick, though, because you're playing the trends. He had a great game, unfortunately, against the Bears last week and put up a lot of points. Also, he is available in a lot of leagues. 36% of the people in Yahoo leagues only own him, so he's sitting up on the waiver wire ready to go. If you have had injury problems at quarterback, if you had problems in scoring at quarterback, get him in because his matchup is against the Jacksonville Jaguars this week, who we always pick on, so you can't beat the matchup. Last week he completed 25 for 32 passes, 277 yards. He ended the game with a 123.6 passer rating. Hell, you can't not put him in your lineup if you have bye week trouble or you've been having low scoring by your quarterbacks so far. My third pick for you is one that's way out there, and this is one that Prost would just completely make fun of and say is a one-hit blunder. But this is Big Balls Fantasy Football. This is a 4-balls pick. My 1-week waiver wire wonder, Andrew Hawkins of the Browns, wide receiver. They're going up against the Raiders. That's why. You're going to pick the matchup this week. Also, you are going to be trending with him. He secured 5 of 9 targets last week for 112 yards in Week 7. The Raiders' defense playing against this week, they're very sagging. They're very horrible. So for a 1-week waiver wire wonder, as Beast likes to put it, get him in your lineup this week. So those are my picks. Coming up next, we had Sunday Funday, as we said in the intro, and we got out there with Lexi, we got out there with Logan, we got out there with a bunch of Bronco fans going crazy. We even met a skeleton. How can you not be having Lexi bring home a skeleton with her? Now, you have to actually put the footage in there generally. Let's go to the footage. Stay tuned.
What's going on? I don't know which end now. Hey everybody, Big Balls Fantasy Football. We are here on Sunday Funday here at the Outpost, as we always are, for the Broncos games. This week, we're watching the Broncos, but we are having a special Broncos break-in on the game. Lexi is actually going next week to
the Chargers game.
Yes.
That's how passionate I am. Yeah. Chargers, you're going down. Smash.
Yes.
Bring it.
This game, though, Peyton Manning. How many more touchdowns does Peyton Manning have to break Brett Favre's record?
He needs 3 more. He's at 506, so he needs 3 more, which I think he can get today. I'm really confident he can do it today, but if not, then it's just going to be even more enjoyable when I take my mama on Thursday to the Bronco game
and see it live.
Because me and my mama were there when LA and Terrell and all of them had all their record-breaking game at Mile High, the original. So that would be really cool to see live. But I hope he does it today. So
I think it's going to happen today. I'm sorry, Lexi. You might not get to see it live.
but we'll just see him rack up the tally. Nobody.
Exactly. Here's what I predict. I think he's going to do it today, and then you're going to get to go and see the celebration when you go there with all of your Broncos fans up there at Mile High. It's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be great. I love all my Bronco fans here at OutPost. We have such a great time. But back at home, all Bronco fans, like I grew up with them since elementary, so to be tailgating with them, hanging out with my mom, it's going to be a great game. Broncos, Chargers, you know. But first we got to get through the Broncos, Niners, because I heard that they're playing really good lately, and that we should have played them in the Super Bowl, but you know, so it's a little nerve-wracking. So I know we're going to do good, I know we're going to win, but let's just see. Let the game start.
So all I'm hoping for, please, I need some Wes Welker fantasy points. That's all I need today. I know he had his problems with the substance abuse at the beginning of the season. I need him to give me some points. I know you're hoping for that too, right?
Any player of the Broncos, I want them to get as many points for any fantasy football team because it's all about the Broncos for me. I even got the pink on again for breast cancer awareness, save the titties. You know, that's what it's
Save
about.
the titties. That's all we're about here at Big Balls Fantasy Football. Save the boobies. I always say that, save the boobies. And so we're going to be back at halftime giving you the...
I need to actually give a quick message to Smash, though.
Yeah, do it. Lay it out.
She's going to be crying really, really hard next Thursday, you know? I just see her there with her Charger jersey. Just,
Oh!
Yes, that's right, Smash. I am sorry, but Denver Broncos are going to take down the Chargers, so bring it! See you at the
Hey, it's Jenilee here from Big Balls Fantasy Football, and we're with Lexi at the Outpost, obviously a Broncos bar.
Oh, it's been an amazing game so far. Sorry, but I cannot help myself.
It's okay. So you're happy with your first half?
509, Peyton Manning beat Brett Favre's record, and there's many more to come because there's so many weeks left of the game. Again, Chargers next on Thursday, going down, Ashley. Anyways, besides the point. Yes. So we're up ahead by 3 touchdowns. Broke the record. I could not be more excited.
So who did he pass the ball to break this record?
Demaryius Thomas, which I just want to give a big old hug and kiss right now for catching that catch because he made history and made Peyton Manning go down in history. It's amazing. So I'm just a little excited, a little overwhelmed. I can't explain it right now. I'm just excited. Go Broncos!
That's right. It's been a great fantasy day as well for the Bronco players. Peyton Manning has passed 3 touchdowns, and to get him to that record, he passed 1 to Emmanuel Sanders and 1 to Wes Welker before the one to Demaryius Thomas. So there's been a lot of action fantasy-wise in this game. How many more touchdown passes do you think Manning will pass in the second half?
I think he's at least going to get 2 more. I do. I mean, the Niners, they are playing really well. They're trying to keep us back, but we're pushing strong. We want to help Manning out, get that, record up high so nobody else can ever beat it. But Niners are playing really good, but we're playing even better. So I think he has at least 2 more touchdowns, if not more, in him for the second half. I honestly do.
I like that prediction. It seems to be Broncos land. They're playing at home. Niners are struggling a little bit, so you're not getting a ton of points from them. But hey, we're heading into the second half, and go Broncos.
Go Broncos. And Ashley, you're going down on Thursday. Just saying. Just saying.
And we're out. Hey, Jenilee here, and we have Logan here, who is a Cowboys fan, but we've talked to him before. So I want to ask him, first of all, how do you think your Cowboys are 6-1. Did you expect this?
No, not at all. I honestly, as a fan, have no idea how to feel about this. People keep coming up to me like, "Oh, you guys are 6-1," and I'm like, "I know, that's really weird. I don't know how to feel about it." It's been so long since we were actually good. I really don't know how to react. Really, I mean, I'm enjoying it. I just don't know what's going on. Yeah.
So something special happened today with DeMarco Murray. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, DeMarco Murray actually became the first back in the history of the NFL to run for 100 yards in the first 7 games of the season, breaking a record previously held by Jim Brown. I found that to be amazing as a statistic, but not so much of a reflection on DeMarco, but more of a reflection on the Cowboys' offensive line as a whole, which I feel, if it's not the best offensive line in football, it's certainly the best run-blocking offensive line in football. There's really nobody they cannot go up against that I feel like I should be worried about DeMarco performing against. He's almost become the first in a long time matchup-proof running back.
Yeah, do you have him on your fantasy team at all?
I don't. I wish I did. One of my buddies from like 6th grade has him, so I'm going to try and figure that out. But in the meantime, I do have Des Bryant on my team. I'm in a PPR Dynasty League that I've been some buddies for like over 12 years now. So I'm enjoying that. He had a hell of a game, especially if you're in a PPR league. I believe he had 9 catches for like 150. Just missed a touchdown. But other than that, no complaints from here. I'm loving it.
That's right. Des did have a very big game. And I talked a little bit about in a different show how young the Cowboys' offensive line is. And they are proving to be amazing, obviously. You just said they are opening up those holes for Murray, and he is balling out this season. I have him in a league. So besides Cowboy players, what other players do you have in fantasy that are either doing good or bad for you?
Well, there's actually one player that I wanted to mention because it's actually he is on the Cowboys, but I feel like he's horrifically underowned. Joseph Randle is for some reason available in like 98% of leagues across many different websites. If you have DeMarco Murray and for some reason no Murray owners own Joseph Randle, please, for the love of God, pick up Joseph Randle, drop your backup kicker, defense, quarterback, whatever, have Joseph Randle, and you'll feel better about your life. I just wanted to say that. Yeah.
He is getting those change of pace carries when Murray needs a rest, and obviously this O-line is doing a lot.
Yeah.
Any other
if Murray
players?
would miss even a week, Joseph Randle becomes a must-start running back with that offensive line. Yeah.
I agree. Any other players for you on other teams that are doing good or
well,
bad?
the reason I actually came out tonight was because Peyton Manning, I'm like a de facto on the low Broncos fan now because I've owned Peyton Manning in that same Dynasty League for about 3 years now. So I was with him right during that injured year. I still had him on IR, kept him to when he got with the Broncos, and now I've been pleasantly actually surprised. I didn't think this was ever going to happen. We heard so many things about his neck and the arm strength and all this, so I'm just really excited and really happy for the guy, to tell you the truth. He's one of my favorite players of all time.
That is awesome, and he gets you a ton of fantasy points.
Yeah, so I'm still competitive every year because of this guy, except for the 1 year when he had the injury. We had a down year. I was able to trade for Dez that year, so everything worked out in the end. I'm doing good. We're doing okay right now. I'm 5-2, so we'll see what happens.
Okay,
yeah.
That's a pretty good record. I picked up your quarterback, actually, Romo, in a couple leagues. He's my not every week quarterback, but I throw him in there, and this was a week I threw him in, and he did really good. So any comments on Romo? Because I know there's been a lot of controversy over the last few years of how he performs, but do you think he's having a better year?
I think he is having the year he should be having for the Cowboys. We're not doing too much in the passing game. We're not getting overly schemy, overly elaborate with our passing game. We're doing a lot of play action, which, to Romo's credit, he's excellent at it. It gets Des Bryant open for a lot of big plays, and really to actually a stronger degree, I was about to say lesser, but really to a stronger degree, Terrence Williams is able to get huge plays in the passing game. He's not huge on targets per se, so in a PPR league it might be a little weird with him, but in a standard league, he has an outside chance at a touchdown just about every game, because any other play, with DeMarco sucking in those safeties, he can be good for 6. He can be good for 6.
I agree with you. I also picked him up. So Romo was doing pretty good off that back surgery. His first few weeks were a little rusty. It was kind of like his preseason, but as the season's gone on, he's done really well. And obviously that running game is helping the passing game.
Yeah, and only other thing I might have noticed about the Cowboys is if you're in a dynasty league and it's towards the end of the year, pick up Gavin Escobar. Jason Witten, there's been a couple of rumblings about he might retire after this year, especially if he has another injury or two. if for some reason he does retire, Gavin Escobar has all the skills, from what I can see, to be a starting NFL tight end and a good one for the Cowboys offense. Just sneaky end of the year thing.
I agree. I believe he had 2 touchdowns today.
Yeah.
So there we go. Some inside advice. And we are going to roll into the bar and watch the rest of this Broncos 49ers game. So thank you so much for being with us as always.
Anytime. Yeah.
This is my boyfriend Maximus.
That's your boyfriend, Maximus.
This is his hat. I love him. Oh my God, really?
How long you two been dating?
2.5 months.
For eternity?
Yeah, forever and always. Till death do us part, as you can see.
Let's see him. Let's see him. Happy Halloween, everybody.
You say hi.
Hi.
How's your birthday weekend?
My birthday weekend is going fucking phenomenal.
It's good?
Yeah, it's freaking birthday. I just had a skeleton wish me happy birthday. So, I mean, when you get a skeleton to wish you happy birthday, I mean,
Nothing scary about that. No.
Greg, happy birthday. Happy birthday to another year of being older. And happy birthday to being another year greater. I love you and you are the best. I love you and happy birthday.